This episode of Tales of Tamriel is made possible by our generous Patreon donors. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to help support the Dungeon Crawler Network and this podcast, visit patreon.com/Dungeon Crawler Network.
Dungeon Crawler Network presents Tales of Tamriel.
Welcome, Dungeon Crawlers, to episode 130 of Tales of Tamriel. I am your host, Aggelos, and with me, as always, because I drag him in from the very pits of oblivion himself, Arkhaniir. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Did you have a good sleep?
Yeah, after that, yeah. I did.
Yeah, I mean, from everyone who's telling me, my Sexplar did great. You know, while you were asleep during raid.
I do not believe that. Because if I do not believe that, I'll leave the discussion to the
we'll talk about that in Tales. So we got some fun to talk about for the gameplay section. But we're back, we're here, and we're ready to talk some Elder Scrolls Online. Before we begin, however, I do want to mention that for the next 2 weeks, we are going to be on hiatus for the show because of the upcoming holidays here in the U.S. and around the world in general. Next week, when we would normally record, is Christmas Eve, and the following week happens to be the 31st, which is New Year's Eve. So I wanted to make sure that people were able to get out, do what they need to do, and enjoy your New Year's and quote-unquote new life celebrations in the real world. So we are going to take a 2-week break, and we will be back on January 7th with another episode 131 of Tales of Tamriel. I hope you don't miss us too much, but, we need breaks as well at times, so that's what we're going to do. So just keep that in mind, that after this episode, that we are going to take 2 weeks off. Greetings, chat room. Thank you so much for showing up. And, we got Alith Cast in chat. Hey, guys. You guys rock.
Bellasaurus. I hope I butchered. Is it Bellasaurus? I think so.
There's a specific reason why I very specifically only said Alith Cast, because I didn't want to butcher the name, so I'm glad you did. But yeah, if you don't know who they are, check them out. They're a EU-centric ESO podcast, and I think they're one of the only ones, albeit at this point I can only think of a handful of Elder Scrolls Online podcasts out there. Elder Scrolls Off the Record, us, and Alith Cast. And I'm trying to think if there's a few more, but I'm not really sure, so it's hit or miss. But definitely check them out. Great group of guys. I love watching when I can. I don't get to watch live very often, but I do catch it on their YouTube, so check them out. And hello to the rest of the chat room. Thank you so much for showing up this wonderful Saturday evening. And I'm warm now. I'm warm. For those who follow my personal Twitter, we had sort of an issue in my house where the furnace died. And it was the coldest week of this year, so that was kind of rough, but they came in and put a new furnace on. So now I'm actually kind of hot and kind of wishing they wouldn't have put it in yet, because podcasting always makes me warm.
The fire gnomes in your furnace should take a break.
I know, they should. I'm using like those the void salts, but it's like the flame void salts. So I should lower the amount of them in there. Stupid danger.
Before we begin, finally the microphone came, but I still am not sure about the settings of it. So if you think I am too loud or too quiet, let me know in the chat so I can try and adjust as we go.
Excellent. Alithcast loves Tales too. Awesome. Yes, we have a great big incestuous ESO podcast relationship going on. I was going to say speaking of, but I don't think we have any incest in our news today, but we do have some news that we want to talk about. We're going to roll right into the game news. Not a whole lot to talk about, but there's a few things. Oh, also, we are going to talk New Life Festival today for our discussion topic. What we like about it, what we didn't like about it, what our experiences are, and we will accept your phone calls to the show if you want to give your thoughts as well. Simple way of doing it, join our Discord channel, dungeoncrawlernetwork.com/Discord, hop in the podcast lobby. When I see you in there, I will send you a message, and I'll let you know when we're going to pull you in so you can talk and tell us about the New Life Festival. So if you want to join us, feel free. Start queuing up calls, and we'll pull people in. First up on the news docket, PC Mac patch notes 2.6.11 hit the live servers this week. This was an incremental patch that fixed several issues, including not being able to log into Cyrodiil after a crash, a number of quest fixes, and a few other little things. It was a fairly small patch coming in at roughly 250 megs. Not that bad. But dungeons and group content, they had a fix for Maw of Lorcage into the Maw. After completing the Maw of Lorcage on hard mode, the quest would now grant correct loot, which is probably a pretty big deal because Maw of Lorcage is very difficult, and I think I'd be rather upset if I got crap loot. So
yeah. 2 hours of hell, and you get a, I don't know, what's the bad item? I couldn't even think of a bad item. Yeah. Anything not gold.
Anything not gold. Yeah. Yeah. That would be pretty bad. So that was one of the things that they fixed. With Cyrodiil in general, they fixed an issue that where you could get an infinitely long load screen. That sounds familiar. When trying to log back into Cyrodiil after a crash. I feel like that happens a lot of places, not just Cyrodiil.
Yeah, not just Cyrodiil.
Yeah. There also was an issue where you could not pass through the whirlpools in the Quickwater Cave and became stuck before reaching the bottom. That was partially fixed in 2.6.9, but now is fully resolved. So if you were ever trying to play in that delve, if you remember that delve, you hop in, and there is, and this cat, seriously, I'm going to give you away. There's a few bosses up top, but there's like a little whirlpool in the water. When you jump in it, you fall through the world, and there's a Daedra down there that you can kill, and you can kind of fight your way back up into the front of the cave. Well, that was blocked. So
I almost never go into Cyrodiil, so I didn't realize that.
I haven't been in there recently either. Mostly because there's nothing I really need in Cyrodiil right now, and I haven't been into a PvP mood lately. So I don't know. Yeah,
I'll have to go into Cyrodiil a lot in EU right now to get the Vigor.
Tacit Elf in chat, I love what they wrote. Any kind of crap loot you get, a prosperous trait on anything. I just saw that, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you get prosperous on anything, you rage. A few other general fixes for mage-type monsters where they would instantly reappear after being defeated. That has been fixed. And Destruction Staff got a change. Eye of the Storm, the Elemental Storm Morph, fixed an issue where this morph's visual effect would not be displayed if the caster was using Mist form. Dealing damage with this morph will now remove the caster from Shadow Cloak and display a hostile red telegraph to enemy players. So I can see it wasn't so much a bug in its damage for PvE type players, but in PvP, if anyone was using Mist form or Shadow, anything that distorted your character, it wouldn't display the effect, so you wouldn't know if you were standing in bad. So
that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I can see that being a big thing in PvP, because then you could just mistform, roll the Eye of the Storm, and then people would be taking damage, and they wouldn't be able to see that it was because they were standing in your poo. So a few other quest fixes that I'm not going to really go into, but they're there if you have a desire to look. If you've been having issues with a quest or something like that, they did fix some bugs in Craglorn, Deshawn, and Green Shade. So if you were stuck in one of those zones, go check to make sure that your bug was fixed. All right. Anything else on that arc? I think we kind of covered all that.
No.
Okay.
Patch notes, so...
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's patch notes. Some interesting stuff in there. The Bethesda Twitch stream hosted a sneak peek at Homestead this week, and that was actually pretty neat. Did you watch any of it, Ark?
Yeah, for a while. I mean, I tuned in, tuned back out.
Yeah.
Came back half an hour later, something like that.
I caught 15 minutes of it, and that was about it. I didn't catch all of it, so... but that was there. Did they actually stay on Homestead for the entire thing? I'd be amazed.
I don't know. I didn't see the end, but it was, last time I checked, like I came back after an hour or so, and they had this whole bunch of Christmas decoration and stuff like that. So I guess they did stay there for a long time. Okay. And it was a good thing that they did. They took requests from the chat and they added it into the scene they had, the fireplace scene. So it was a nice thing. Okay. But they didn't place my request for upside down floating chair with cheese. So. Well,
I mean, you have to get Shea Gorth as an interior designer to do that, but definitely that might be a thing. Yeah, it definitely. I was actually, I remember talking with some of the DCN crew in our Discord about it, going that I would be surprised because it was on the Bethesda stream. I was sort of expecting it to be kind of an all-around Bethesda Christmas stream and just featuring Homestead for a little bit, but even the time that I saw it, it was on there for quite a while, so that was really cool. I was actually honestly expecting it only to be like, and here's Homestead, 5 minutes of this, and then jumping to the rest of their intellectual property, but it seems like they got some fairly decent airtime.
One thing I wish they did was that to show the actual editor UI for it, but they didn't do that, so it was just items spawning out of nowhere. But still, we were able to see how freely you could place things. Like, they placed a elk mount inside the fireplace, and then, a bunch of weird stuff. Also, Galaskner said in Discord, Twitch is constantly dropping me from the feed and chat. I'm not sure if it's just Galaskner or something to do with us. But if anyone else is having the same issue, if you let us know in the chat, we can check it out.
Yep. Yeah, definitely let us know if you're having issues connecting in and out. So, final bit of news before we get into our discussion topic. There wasn't a whole lot, but this is something that is not directly ESO related. But definitely when it came across my little news board, I had to bring this up because it's a pretty big deal. Elder Scrolls Todd the God Howard, to be inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame. So Bethesda lead designer Todd Howard is slated to be the next inductee in the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences Hall of Fame for his work on the Fallout and Elder Scrolls franchises. So this award will come on February 23rd, 2017 at the 20th DICE Awards. Howard will be the 22nd member to join the prestigious Hall of Fame club, and has been with Bethesda since 1994. So,
I mean, I was born in 1994, and he has been there for as long as I lived, and I love Todd Howard, and he definitely deserves it.
I'm still reeling on the fact that you were born in 94.
You knew that, actually.
I know, but it's something I don't really think about until you mention it, and then I go...
Now, I look old, right?
I'm so... No, you don't look old, but it just makes me feel old, because I'm like, But then again, I made everyone in our chat feel old, too, because they were talking about something or another during our trials run, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is, mentioning some old singer, and I pretty much had all of our Discord.
I knew those singers, by the way. way.
Oh, you
It's
did?
just yeah, it's just you. It doesn't have anything to do with age.
Oh, just me. I just feel like I wasn't old enough to know who they were. Yeah, so that is what it is. Now, Hall of Fame, Video Game Hall of Fame. This is, I would say, definitely feels like a something that is well deserved, especially for the Elder Scrolls series. I'm not as big into Fallout as some people. Not saying it's it's just not my kind of thing. I'm a high fantasy kind of guy, but I hear great things about those games, and I know, Ark, you were telling me a little bit earlier, like some of the names you were reading.
I have the list in front of me.
Go ahead and read some of them off, because I mean it's a big deal that he's included in this list of names, because even I know some of these names.
I mean, so most of these are pretty well known. Hideo Kojima obviously is there. Gabe Newell.
He's Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Gabe
part of
Newell
Konami before Konami blew up on itself, but yeah.
Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games, which is, of course, the Unreal and Gears of War.
Okay.
So he's there. Any other names I recognize directly? John Carmack, ID Software, founder of ID Software. Sid Meier, obviously.
Sid Meier, yeah, that's a big one.
Bunch of other names. Michael Morhaime, president and co-founder of Blizzard Entertainment.
That makes sense.
These names are like founders of Rockstar, EA, Origin Systems, whatever. These names are huge.
Oh yeah,
and Todd Howard will be there from now on. So yeah, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, a couple of those big names in there. Like, I can't imagine gaming today without a couple of them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Sid Meier's was pretty much like the be-all, end-all when it comes to strategy games of any kind. Like Civilization builders and things like that. Michael Morhaime, he essentially built World of Warcraft and the Warcraft franchise, which pretty much is what made, whether you love it or hate it, World of Warcraft did something for the MMO genre that it made it mainstream. It made it cool to do. Because once upon a time, like, I'm going back to my Ultima Online days and stuff like that, where a game boosting 200,000 players was a blockbuster for MMOs, because it was such a niche thing, and it wasn't something like it's almost like that little gamer shame, like, oh, you play games, oh yeah, you play Call of Duty, I play Ultima Online. What is that? Like, you kind of had that nerd upon nerd mentality, if you will, with MMOs. But what World of Warcraft did was it made it mainstream, and it made it cool. You'd see people walk around with hoodies and, oh, you play Warcraft too? Oh, that's awesome. They made it okay to talk about the MMO genre with almost anyone, and people would be like, oh, okay, that's, it's an accepted part of gaming, not just a hiding in your basement till all hours of the night kind of gaming session. It made it cool. It made developers want to pursue it as a mainstay type thing. So these names are huge. So having Todd Howard, who created honestly one of the best fantasy worlds out there, being the Elder Scrolls, I can't give it the best because I still love my Middle Earth, but it is honestly one of the best fantasy franchises out there, and in terms of depth, one of the best that I've ever encountered. So congratulations, Todd Howard, because that is a big accomplishment and definitely well deserved. So yeah, guys, we don't have a lot of news this week because obviously it's getting close to the holiday season. And speaking of the holiday season, we're going to talk about the New Life Festival, which is is our discussion topic for this entire week. The New Life Festival recently started, like 2 days ago, as I pull it up and kick Cats off my desk because she won't leave my desk. And I hear my son upstairs, so if you hear some noise, he's playing with all of our pots and pans. Anyway, as of December 15th, the New Life Festival started and is going until, I believe, January the 4th. So it's roughly 20-ish days or so. And how the New Life Festival works is you'll be able to get a free item off the Crown Store, just like before, and it'll start a quest. You go find Bretta outside of Windhelm. Easiest way to get to her is to port to the Kynes Grove, and then just run north a little bit along the road. You'll see her little hut, or you'll see the massive black figures because your computer can't load them in fast enough. And just kind of go over there and then wait 10 minutes for her to finally appear. She'll give you a series of quests that you can do, daily quest up to 9 a week, or a day. You get them every day. And one's for every race out there, at least 9 races. Imperials don't get anything special because they're busy. They don't celebrate Christmas. Or New Life Festival. And you'll go out to the
Imperials are too edgy.
They're too edgy.
Yep.
You'll go out, you'll complete these, you come back, you get a reward bag, and inside the reward bag is a couple of different things, including a random crafting material, whether it's a provisioning ingredient, alchemy, health glyph, something like that. A consumable version of a New Life theme memento, something that you know that it's not permanent, but you can play with it, and a skin changer style item, the Wolfsbane incense. No. This is the style
item, yeah.
The thing to craft with. In addition, you'll have a chance to receive one of the following: either a skin changer motif chapter, a New Life recipe for either blue, green, or gold quality, or one of the new special New Life collectibles, the Mud Ball pouch, which is a memento, the Nordic Bather's Towel, which is a costume, are 2 versions of a hat, the Colovian Filigreed hood and the Colovian fur hood. So you can do these every day, 9 of them a day. Once you complete all the achievements, you get the Magnanimous title, and there you go.
What is magnanimous? Is that a word, or
it is a
just...
word? It means like great, the great one, something along those lines. Or I believe that's what it means. I'm going to go ahead and copy paste and throw it into yay old Google to tell me its meaning. I was wrong. Not entirely, but it's an adjective meaning very generous or forgiving, especially toward a rival or someone less powerful than oneself. So it's following it. It kind of falls along with, synonyms of generous, charitable, benevolent. Fits in with the holiday theme.
Yeah.
So, magnanimous. There we go. So, have you been playing the New Life Festival?
Yes.
Okay.
And so far, I got everything except the mud ball pouch.
Okay.
So I'm happy. The drop rates aren't as low, I guess, or my RNG is acting up. I don't know. But otherwise, I'm enjoying it. My problem is that, in the Halloween event, it was, basically kill bosses for as long as you can. I actually hated it back then, to grind bosses, but now I kind of favor it. Because the first time I did these quests, it was fun, since, there's a lore behind it. And it's kind of fun to do all these, mud ball throwing, Castle Charm challenge, whatever, all these stuff. But after the second, third, or fourth time, they kind of get repetitive, So, and I never been a person for the dailies. I don't like dailies, unlike many others. I don't know.
I like dailies, but I get where you're coming from.
Dailies are boring.
They give you a reason to sign in every day. That's the thing that MMOs have struggled with since they became increasingly first person, or not first person, but single player focused. People get what they want done, and they don't need other players. And special shout out, Mr. Slabo is in chat. So,
oh wow,
first time she's able to been here. So from Elder Scrolls Off the Record, the one, the only Liz Mistress LeBeau is in chat. Thank you, Weather, for allowing her to be here.
Thank you, Weather.
we are accepting your calls on our Discord channel. You can hop on in and tell us about your New Life Festival experiences. DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com/Discord. Hop into our podcast lobby, and we'll pull you up when appropriate. Daily. So is it just because of the repetitive nature that it's the same 9 quests every single day that you're not fond of, or?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me run around too much. And since they are dailies and I want to get rid of them quickly, I don't follow any roads or anything, so I just teleport, which is, again, boring. But one thing you should keep in mind that I hate every daily. Like, there isn't a single daily in any game that I like. I hate them.
All right.
So there's that. But otherwise, the only quest in there that is fun to do over and over and over and again is the mud ball merriment, which allows you to throw mud balls into faces of Altmers. So that's fun. I can do that for 3 days straight without getting bored, so there's that. But
Mr. Schlabo says you're not in favor of this event. You get coal for Christmas.
I'm in favor of the event. In general, I don't like the dailies.
Yeah, right. No, and I get that. Like, I will say, I'm actually really enjoying the event. There's a few issues which we'll go into, and that's what we're here to discuss. But overall, the event was done really well. I don't mind the dailies. Let me tell you the first thing that I thought when I heard of the dailies. I was thinking to myself, with 4 collectible items to get, okay? Actual collectible items, the 8 cooking recipes, and then the entire motif chapters, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, is 20 days enough to get these items? Because before, like you said, we could just kill bosses over and over again, which I also kind of liked because it fit in well with one Tamriel, and you were getting drops of stuff. Like I was farming the Daedric, the anchors outside of Mournhold, and I was getting Mother's Sorrow, and I could sell that while I was getting the trick-or-treat baskets. Essentially, I was able to sell those items, and it kind of provided a little bit of income outside of the daily quest. So I can see where the daily quest was automatically a turn-off of a way of getting these rewards. But then I also started to fear to myself, crud, I only have 2 characters right now. I haven't finished recreating all of them. Am I going to be forced to run 9 quests on every single character to try to get this? And I was pleasantly surprised because the drop rates seem pretty good. It's already, Saturday, and it started Thursday. I am missing 2 motif chapters and 1, I'm missing the Bather's Towel, the Nordic Bather's Towel. That's all I'm missing. So, and I've only done it on 2 characters. Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean the drop rates are high.
There's
no problem, and I'm happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and with trading and stuff going on, I was able to trade a few skin changer motif pages for other ones that I needed. So that's kind of why I was concerned at first, because I'm sitting there going, "Oh great, are these gold recipes going to be super rare?" Like, if people who want to collect them, are they going to be able to collect them in time? And I can tell you yes, I've done it on 2 characters, but seeing the drop rates after only essentially 3 days worth of time, I feel fairly confident that I don't even have to mess on my other character in order to get everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, I the first day I didn't do anything.
Okay.
Yesterday I only did it with 1 character, and today I did it twice, like 2 characters. So overall, I did all these, what would you call it? All these dailies for 3 times in total. And as I said, I am only missing the mud ball pouch. I only got several receipts, including 1 gold, which I sold directly. So yeah, the drop rates are high. I mean, there is no problem in there.
Mr. Slabo in chat says, I'm in favor of the Bather's Towel, bare-chested Bretons and Nords running around everywhere. Yes, please. That's actually one of the things I was sitting there going, I think in Discord I said, I'm done with this event because I saw a big Nord. He dyed his Bather's Towel like a bright purple or pink, and he was wearing the owl hood. He looked like an anime character, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm out. I'm out. I can't do it. That was a little disturbing for me personally. I don't think I'm actually going to get over that.
Yeah, then I know what to do next time I log into North America.
Oh yeah, no, you don't already
Yeah.
dance naked enough with cake. Now you're gonna do it with the owl hat and the bather's towel.
Yep.
Tass
Dance
Elf,
Redguard.
Tass Elf in chat says, done all the achievements so far. Only thing I'm missing is the towel costume. Had to use 6 tunes and 9 repeats of the quests in order to get it. So that's still not too bad if you extrapolate that out across 6 tunes, 36. Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to get everything based on those odds, just doing it on one, because it's only 20 days. But with the amount of trading that's going on, I think you could get it for cheap. So,
Yeah,
I was worried
here's-
at first, but I'm not so worried now.
Yeah, I'm not worried, but here's the thing. I mean, as I can't read it. Tassafe, I guess.
Tass Elf? Yeah.
It's yellow, so it's just
It's hard to
invisible.
read,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah. 6 tunes, 9 repeats of the quests. That should be frustrating. You know, it's too much to go over and over and over and again with new characters and for each day for 20 days. I mean, you could stop, obviously, after getting all the achievements and all the receipts and everything, but still, it's much easier to just stand in one point and grind a world boss or a dolmen until you get it. Like, you could do it for 1 day straight, 24 hours straight, get everything and be done with it. Or you could just spread your time and do it throughout the event. But this time, you have to do these every day. However you hate it, it doesn't matter. So that's my only problem with the event. One positive side I see in this is that even if you don't have time, like back when during the Halloween event, I didn't have time to grind, so I kind of wasn't able to collect everything. But this time, it only takes like 10 minutes to do all these. So even if you don't have time, just log in for 10 minutes a day, do the rotation, and you can still get everything. So that's the positive side, I guess.
And Tass Elf in chat says, I was worried that I wouldn't have enough time, thought it would be a lot more time consuming. I will say one thing about the Halloween event, and an issue that I'm having with the New Life Festival, which I'm sure everyone's having. Every single person in the world, it seems, is gathered in these zones, okay?
Yeah.
At least with the Halloween Festival, it worked off any world boss, any dolmen, anything that rewarded a chest or had loot or something like that, gave you the opportunity to get the items that you needed, okay? This is everyone gathered in like 5 different areas, and the amount of lag, the amount of time it takes for the individual characters to log in, not even including waiting to turn in a quest or accept a quest because you have to wait for Bretta to show up because she's not loading in fast enough. I feel like that was a misstep only because it concentrated people into so few zones that it causes those zones to lag while it leaves everywhere else out. And Mr. Slobo in chat, it was great seeing so many people running around because people were everywhere in the world during the Halloween event. Because if there were too many people at one dolmen where you weren't getting enough hits to get loot, you went somewhere else. But people were everywhere. You know, like, the world felt really alive, but spread out enough that there wasn't such the lag fest and the loading problems that seemed to be happening with this event because you're funneling everybody outside of Kineswood. So
Yeah, I mean, I did see many complaints about people getting crashes or just directly disconnecting whenever they get close to Breda and stuff like that. So that was a mistake, I guess. I mean, at least they could have done, one NPC for each alliance. That would be a way to kind of separate the population, I guess.
Miss Biz in chat, she actually brought up something. I think it'd be hard to be able to do quests that aren't specific to the areas, though. No, I agree, and it's not so much of... This was something that it just hit because of everyone going into this, and as Mr. Slabo said, she hadn't had any loading problems. This is also very much dependent upon the hardware of the people going in. People with worse internet connections are not as good computers. Like, my computer's getting up there in age. Like, I should probably update my CPU at some point. So my computer has a little bit of a harder time, but people in mid-end to low-end machines were having a lot more loading issues than people with better machines. So that is definitely anecdotal based on the person's hardware going into it. So
yeah.
that might have been part of it. One of the things that I think might have been a little more interesting, and it might have broke the immersion feeling a little bit, but maybe just having a UI element, sort of like when you go to the DLC page of your collection and you can accept the starter quest, being able to go to a UI option and being able to select a quest that you want to do, it would prevent you from having to turn it in at the lady at Bretta who's always having issues loading in. Like, having two options. I like being able to go into the world for the immersion's sake, but to prevent some of the issues, it might have been advantageous to provide a UI GUI to accept quest. That way you weren't having such the loading problems of having to go to one zone to collect everything.
Yeah, I mean, immersion is always nice, but you should always provide an easy option for those people who don't care about the immersion. That's always has to be an option.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I'm thinking of that may have solved some of the loading problems. And people in chat are saying, you know, having everyone funneled into one area really does push home the one Tamriel, which it does, but it also shows that people with not so good computers, or even some with really good ones, are still having loading issues trying to accept quest and whatnot. So I don't know. It's not a big gripe for me, one way or the other. It's just one of the problems that I noticed with the event, which overall is fairly small. I mean, if you're going to complain about an event one way or the other, having a little bit of loading issues just because so many people are doing it is a pretty small one. I mean, it wasn't... have you experienced any crashes of late?
I didn't experience any. But,
really?
I mean, the population in Europe seems fairly smaller than in North America, so that might be an effect in that.
Okay.
But otherwise, I didn't experience any crashes.
Again, it could be PC related as well, but I know quite a few people when you're going into those areas. I myself have experienced quite a few crashes where ESO just stops responding. And I've been crashing out quite a bit, but only specifically when I'm in Kineswood, like right near Breda.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw pictures in Reddit showing the crowd around Breda, and in Europe it's nothing like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that might be the reason that I didn't crash at all.
Yeah, you've been playing mostly on EU now, correct? So
yeah,
okay.
Can't log in at night, so...
Well, yeah, no, it makes
point
sense. I've been playing late on this event so I could have enough time to do quests on multiple characters, and I've been catching myself even logging in, and I know it might not be late for a couple people, but, 1, 2 a.m., my time, Eastern time, normally was kind of a dead zone for a lot of areas, and Bretta was still full of people, like right next to her. She's just a popular lady, it seems. So, I don't know.
Is there an experience boost with this event?
There is an experience boost. Unlike the previous events where you had to use a memento to get the item and get the experience, there is a cask of Bretta's new mead or something, or fabulous new mead, sitting off to the, I guess when you're facing her, off to the left-hand side that you can drink and get a 2-hour buff. There was a bug with it, however, where you were losing it upon death. I don't know if it was a bug. Some people were complaining it was a bug, and I believe I read somewhere that they were going to hotfix it, but I could be making that up. It's kind of blurring together at this point. But there is a double experience event going on for anyone who wasn't, because it's a little harder to pick up because it wasn't as advertised as the other stuff. Like with the crow's whistle or the Jubilee cake, you use the memento, you got it, you got the buff. This, you have to drink the mead that's sitting off into a corner somewhere, and then you got your buff. And it was kind of hidden. So.
Yeah, I completely forgot that there would be an experience boost, which explains why my friend is swiftly catching up with my champion points. I was wondering, like, what's this guy is doing to get all this experience? Apparently, he was using the experience boost. People still play this. Yes, sir, we do.
Yeah, and
a lot.
I was gonna say it's still actually one of the top games on consoles. Like, I think that the population on the PC side of things has kind of died down a little bit. Not a lot. It's still very popular among PC, but we have a lot more options as well. And there's been, a few hits with MMOs coming out recently, or within a fairly close time frame, that drew PC players away. But on console, they don't have quite as many choices for MMOs, so it's still incredibly popular. I believe it actually is still #1 on the Xbox Store and PS4. But with that,
yeah, makes sense.
With the experience boost and enlightenment, I get 2 CP from doing just the Festival of Dailies. Yeah, I was actually doing that on my low-level alt. She was level 10 when I started. I did it for one day and went from level 10 to level 16 just doing the double experience. And I think I used one of the experience scrolls I got from buying the Black Friday sale because I wanted the camel. Because I had those extra crowns from my old sub that I went ahead and bought that, and it came with 10 XP scrolls. So I used one, got that, got the double experience, and been leveling her, and she's been going very quick. Very quick. But yes, there was a bug with the drink that when you died, you lost the experience buff. I believe... Oh, Miss Biz did indeed confirm that they hotfixed that yesterday, so now you don't have to worry about it. It was a problem for me because the day we did it, I logged in to do an Imperial City event because we do one with our guild. And we had a low turnout, obviously, because everyone's doing the holiday event, right? But we had a couple people, and it was still fun because I went on my lobby. And we were incredibly careful because it's such good experience in Imperial City, and we were on our lobbies and stuff like that. But we're like, don't die, don't die, don't die. Don't want to lose, don't want to lose that double experience while we're down there. So, how do you feel about the reward structure? Do you feel motivated to actually go out and get these things, Ark?
Oh yeah, I sold one of the receipts for 35k gold. That's motivation enough. Yeah, I mean, if there's gold behind it, I'm going to do it. I don't care.
What's really funny is you told me the other day that you were that you sold the gold recipe you got for 35?
Yeah, 35.
I just got the gold recipe again, and based on the guild traders that I'm in, it's still going for like 22.8. So
I'll probably sell every single thing I get except for the skin changer motifs because they are cheap to begin with. Until like the last few days of the event.
Right.
So they are at their highest price range, so I sell them. Then I'll just rebuy them for cheap.
Yeah, you can do that. And Miss Biz in chat, that we actually talked about this a little earlier too, that one of my complaints, or not complaints, but concerns early on was the fact that rewards were tied to daily quests. Would I have enough time to get all the rewards? And I do agree. The rune boxes definitely feel like they have a much higher drop chance, because I'm only missing one as of right now. And I know a lot of people, like the Witches Festival, I got both of mine, but it pretty much took me to the end of the event to make sure I got everything. This event, they do feel a lot more available, so my concern that the daily quest would be a hindrance to getting everything seems to be assuaged by their seemingly higher drop rates. which is really cool.
I mean, in Halloween event, I opened 72 plunder skulls, and I only got one rune box out of 72.
Okay.
And just one gold receipt. And by the time I got it, it was already cheap, so it was useless. Now, with this event, I only did 3 total rotations, so what that makes 27 boxes. And I already got the 3 rune boxes, 1 gold receipt, several skin changer motifs. So yeah, I mean, the drop rate is definitely a lot higher.
Yeah,
there's no question there.
Well, I've done it every single day on 2 characters, and I have every single reward. I'm missing 2 motifs pages. I'm missing bow and gloves yet. I have all the cooking recipes. They're done, and I'm only missing the Nordic bath towel. That's it. So I feel pretty good about that. And I didn't have to work overly hard. The event still has 17 days left, essentially, and I'm only missing 2 things, or 3 things in total, to finish off everything. And that will actually finish out all the achievements for me as well, and get me my Magnanimous title and all of that fun stuff. So, definitely is an interesting event, and I'm glad that they didn't make the rewards too incredibly rare, because I think I was talking about this during Discord during our guild events, saying that having an event, everyone likes these in-game events, but just as the same reason why we're taking the next 2 weeks off and not going to have a show is because of holiday stuff going on. And yes, you have 20 days, but a lot of people travel around Christmas time and aren't necessarily available. So if it took you all 20 days to get the stuff, that doesn't seem feasible for the majority of people to be able to complete. And I honestly believe holiday events, I don't mind rarity in games. This isn't a claim saying that you need to give me everything or I'm not willing to work for stuff. That is not the case. But holiday events are generally meant to be fun, once a year things that if you were there, you get to have fun, you get to collect the stuff. It's flavor. But you need to provide a reasonable expectation to be able to get the flavor items, because it's not like you can just come back after the holidays because the event's gone for an entire year. Or maybe not at all, because sometimes events change. I know Guild Wars 2 changed events where it wasn't always the same event every year. Mr. Sabot says, and some people have birthdays, so happy birthday, Liz. So,
don't know the exact date, but
don't know the exact date, but happy birthday from DCN and Tails to you. And our gift to you is that I will only refer to you as the Exploitress one time, and that was it. So there you go. That was the New Life Festival. It's really neat. I'm really enjoying it so far. And like I said, I'm almost done with it to the point where after I get these last 3 items, which if I wanted to, I could log on and probably buy them right now. Her birthday's apparently in just a few more hours, so it's probably tomorrow. So,
oh wow! In that case, yeah.
Definitely happy birthday, Liz.
Our episode got a highlight.
Oh yeah, Liz's I know. Highlighted Liz's birthday. I totally lost my train of thought for that. That's it's gone.
So it was a worthy loss, though.
Yeah,
so.
I guess. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, did you like this event? And would you like to see more events in the future? Let's just kind of round it out and give us your good, the bad, the ugly. And would you like to see future events of this type, or would you rather go back to something else?
Overall, I liked the event. I won't say I would rather have the boss grinding, because this is more time-friendly, I guess. Mm-hmm. It requires less time, and I don't have much of time, so it works more for me. So yeah, I like the idea. I like the rewards. I like that it made me gold. So there's that. Yeah, overall, I would like to see it again.
Okay. I definitely got to give a thumbs up to this event. I really liked it. The fact it's going for a fairly long period of time is also a plus because it gives people a chance to actually experience the event. Events that only run like the week of Christmas, I don't like that because, like I said, time restraints. You may not actually get the entire time unless you don't like people or don't have family or anything of that nature, which is more of a personal problem. Sad personal problem, but still a personal problem. I like the idea of the quest. They're easy to do. They're easy to get into. But for the flair of it, I get it. I like the New Life Festival. And here's something I didn't actually do, and I wish I would have thought about it, is looking into the lore of these events. Like, ZeniMax has actually surprisingly done a fairly good job with the lore, and whereas you put it in the game, and I didn't even think it, I thought it was, a ZeniMax exclusive event, and found out that it appeared in other games before, and I was like, oh, wow. But I'm really kind of curious whether or not these events were made up or not, like for fitting the lore. But with one Tamriel now, and one Tamriel being, it is a good thing for the game, but it did, I don't know if they need to adjust their phasing a little bit more for events, maybe even lower the amount of people that can be in a certain zone before it creates a new instance. Only for these events, maybe that might be more advantageous for a smoother gameplay experience. But I actually really enjoyed the world grinding, going out and doing stuff in the world, because, yes, these provided a little bit of money, but not that much. Because let's face it, the price already dropped about $17K from when you sold your gold item to when I got one today. $17K already dropped, and by the end of the event, you're not going to be able to give the stuff away, kind of how we weren't able to give away the Halloween items. And I honestly think that most of the time you really shouldn't be able to make too much of a profit on holiday items. They really should just be given out. Players should want to trade them and finish off the achievements and finish it off. But
yeah,
they're always
it's easy for you to say. You have 2,790,000 gold.
I just broke 2.8. But anyway,
really,
that's neither here nor there. But the Halloween event required you to go out into the world, and you were able to get gear drops and stuff that actually did sell that would carry on past the event. So maybe one of their next events. I don't think they only need to do either world killing or quest. I think you need variety, or else it's the same event just with a different skin. I like the fact there were daily quests, because it wasn't just killing the same monsters over and over again, because then it would have just been the Halloween event, but instead of opening a candy skull, I'm opening a Christmas gift. That's not a new enough event for flavor, but maybe the next event do something completely different. Like, I don't know, delve clearing or exploration-related stuff. Horse racing, my goodness, wouldn't that be awesome? Where, literally run, like, I'm looking at a map of Craglorn on my wall right now, and how the road is almost a perfect circle. That'd have been a great racetrack, just to go all the way around it. Doing more with events is awesome, and I would like to see more diversity. This is a great event. I hope it comes back. But I kind of hope the next event is either a little different from this one, or maybe a combination of World Bosses plus Quest. Just something to break it up. I don't want to see another holiday event that is just the same reskinned event, just with a insert new holiday here thing.
Yeah. I mean, eventually they'll have to get repetitive, because there's only so much you can do as an event.
That's true.
And yeah, but it's twice a year, so we should be fine for at least a couple more years in terms of variety in these events.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is, and we'll probably start seeing it as we go back on.
Yep.
But so that was the New Life event, and the end of our discussion topic. Ark, gameplay time. What have you been doing?
Well, I haven't been doing much until this event. I had my exams this week, but as you'd guess, I started doing the dailies of this event. I've been grinding those, the spot in Deshan that has the world boss and the dolmen right next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Because you said it would drop Mother of Sorrow items that I could sell, but so far I only got the purple ring, which only goes for 13k, so that didn't profit as much as I hoped.
Okay.
Then yesterday, obviously, we had the guild event, the trial,
Yeah.
which I fell asleep in between the trials.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. That was rather funny.
In my defense,
Okay.
by the time we completed Ayaterian Archive, it was already 7 a.m. and I woke up, the previous 7 a.m. So it was like 24 hours. And we didn't have a healer, so we were searching for this. We were searching for a healer,
Yeah.
and it suddenly got quiet on Discord.
Oh, yeah.
So it got quiet, and we weren't doing anything. We were just standing around. So eventually, I started to lay back on my chair, then a bit more, then a bit more. Then I don't remember anything. Like, I remember passing the guild leadership to the Kilted Piper.
Yeah.
After that, nothing. It's just blank. Then I woke up, and you guys are fighting already. And no one has, didn't any of you realize that I wasn't
We
the
actually
main,
called
the
to
main
you.
tank?
No, we did call you. We're like, Ark, are you there? Ark. And I'm the one who said, I bet you he fell asleep. And so we're like, okay, well, maybe he'll come back, maybe he'll come back. All right, well, we were going to do Maul of Lorcage, but the healer we had with us had to step out, and we were having a hard time finding another healer, so we're like, well, we can do Hellra with only the healers we have. We don't need another one for Hellra.
So that's why you guys went Hellra.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I woke up, and, before I speak and comprehend what was happening, I looked around, and no one is there. I was standing at the start of Maul of Lorcage alone, and like, where is everybody? What's happening?
Yeah. Definitely, you were there, and we called to you several times, and you were just not responding, and I'm like, yeah, definitely, he fell asleep. He's gone. But yeah, you had a nice surprise when you came back because everyone had a good time messing with you, with the whole.
Yeah, like. You did Maul of Lorcage, which
and the best part is
impossible.
Yeah, the best part is I didn't even encourage it. That was the rest of them stepped that up and played on my Sexplar build that we tanked like Vet Maul of Lorcage with my two-handed Templar tank. It was amazing. Yeah, that was great. That was absolutely great. Yeah. I'm glad you actually showed up, though, because we haven't got to do stuff together in a while. So this is my first Trials event in quite a while because we weren't raiding anywhere else, and I had nothing to do on Friday. I'm like, well, I'm going to go to the trial of the endgame night for Wings of Fate in ESO, and I'm glad we got it together and that you decided to show up even though you fell asleep halfway through.
I still tanked pretty good, though.
Yeah, well,
I believe
not as good as my Sex
I play better,
obviously, but
look,
I told you that's our new shtick. We have to talk about my Sex every show.
If we were to do Maul of Lorcage, and if we were to get to that twin bosses, I am pretty sure you would eventually die and mess up the whole thing. So tank the healer that left, so that we had to do Hellra. I'm claiming that even when I was sleeping, or half sleeping, I would do a better job with my DK tank than your Templar Sexplar.
No, my Templar is amazing, okay? And you are just jealous. That's all it is.
Liz asks, okay, what is a Sexplar? I want one. Sexplar is Egg's build, a tank build that doesn't use a sword and board, and is a Templar, which clearly doesn't work, won't work.
It's a Templar two-handed tank. I tank with a two-handed sword on a Templar, and it is amazing. And the reason why I call it a Sexplar is because I use the line from Anchorman, 60% of the time it works every time for my Sexplar. So that's why I call it the Sexplar. But it is fun to do. Like, legitly, it's fun to do for dungeons, because it's actually it's fun. Like, it really is really fun. It uses a lot of damage shields. Between Blazing Shield and Brawler, you always have a big damage shield, and it's really good. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun for dungeons, so I use it for that. I use that specifically for that, and it's great. So, but our current stick is fighting over my Sexplar. But yeah, no. Anything else you do, Ark?
Anything else I did? No, I don't think so.
And Mr. Slavo, I have a beautiful, beautiful, big, bulky Nord tank, or a big, bulky Nord Templar, and that is a sexy Templar. All right, just saying. All right, well, I've been doing the event, obviously, finishing it off. I'm only missing, like I said, the 2 motif pages, which I should be able to get probably tonight. The 1 costume, the rune box for the runic blanket, or towel, or whatever. And that's it. And that's really all I have. I finished off all of the achievements besides the ones that say you have to finish the motif, and that'll finish off and get me magnanimous. I did run Imperial City. I ran that with Kenocha and Miss Bacon. Bacon's wife came with us. She was healing us. We 3-manned in Imperial City because Galsner unfortunately was sick and didn't show up. I don't think he was actually sick. I just think he was sad that I wasn't going to allow him to have any chest, and I didn't, so.
Why would you not allow many chests?
Because it's Galsner. We get when we form our group, when we do Imperial City nights, we do mostly the PvE. We don't look for PvP, but if we find any, we kill them. But in order for fairness, whenever we find a chest, we just go alphabetical order and go down the list of people, and they open up the chest. But every time we do the event, I always skip Galser's name. So, it'll be like, what person before him, and then I'll skip and be like, okay, it's you next. He's like, what about me? I'm like, no, you don't get no chest. So I always skip him. So he gets skipped for chest. And this only started after the fact that he stopped. When he opened chest, he wouldn't take anything out of it, and I got tired of it. So I'm like, did you get your chest? Oh, I got everything I wanted. Well, just
yeah.
You're as bad as the people in the beginning of the game who would loot the flowers but leave the bugs.
Oh, it's not beginning of the game. I just today experienced that I picked up something and it had only 2 worms. I mean, good thing that I actually... It's good. It's a good thing to have worms.
Well, yeah,
fishing,
especially for this event.
Yeah, it's still happening,
And TASELF, yeah, well, for our events, we want fairness. We don't want everyone to get whatever, so that's why we do that. But yeah, I'm always like, empty the chest, because then they don't respawn if they're not emptied. So I'm always following behind people.
If you try doing first come, first serve, Aggelos somehow manages always to be the first.
Well, that's because I'm always in the lead. I'm always first through everything. First in the breach. Man, even during our trials night, I was first half the time where like, all right, Ark's ready. I'm like, nope. I'm already charging ahead.
One day I'm going to let you die.
You said that.
You'll pull everything.
In Hellride, you're like, just let him die. I'm like, nope, I'm good. And I'm sitting there running around.
Because my tanking instincts kicked in, and I just taunted everything anyway. Even though I wanted to let you die.
You wouldn't let me die. I was playing my Templar anyway. I wasn't
Besides,
worried.
we sync together. So that's a pact. That's a pact, and I can't break it. I said I would never let you down.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, Mr. Slabo said, you know, and it's actually something that takes into account with the rise of ESO Plus and the crafting bags. People have been taking things more often if you have ESO Plus because it just goes into an infinite crafting bag. But I can see that if you didn't have that, maybe you don't care about the worms so much. But I'm still of the notion that if you don't take the stuff and then destroy it for all I care. But when you leave things in there, excuse me, the chest doesn't respawn. So
Yep.
that's a problem. And
What I love are the people that go and open chests in the middle of a fight. Yeah, I mean, the people that eat cake in the middle of a fight, the people that
the people
go
who
for
don't
heavy
even
sacks
join the
in
fight, they
middle of a
sit
fight.
naked and dance Redguard and eat cake.
Yeah, definitely. Those people are, I don't know, very, very awesome people.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, definitely, I don't do that. I tank properly. I definitely don't do that. Absolutely. Never once in my life I dropped a jubilee cake and ate while everyone died to the boss.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we did Trials Night on Friday, so we did Arthurian Archive and Hell Ra, and those were definitely fun because I haven't had a chance to get back into them since one Tamriel, so I was able to get a few of the Celestial pieces as well, motifs, and that was pretty nice. I didn't get any Vicious Ophidian, which I really wanted. I'm trying to replace some of my jewelry, the agility, with either Vicious Ophidian or Alkosh, but I haven't got any yet, so I'll just have to go to more trials, I guess. Yeah, I guess that was pretty much it, because the rest of my week was pretty much just doing the holiday events, because that's pretty much what I've been focusing in on is holiday events. Because, again, it's one time a year when they show up, that's pretty much all I do. So
It makes sense.
I mean, I did the same thing with the Halloween event. I did it until I got everything that I wanted from the event, whether it be all the achievements or all the motif pages and all the masks, because I have all of that. And once I was done, I didn't do the event anymore. So
That reminds me of one thing about this event. During the Halloween event, we had a chance to form a group and farm somewhere together.
yeah.
And we actually did a guild event with that, and we had a lot of people, you know, not a lot of, but like 10 people
That's still
participating.
good. That's really good.
So in this event, you can't really do that because there isn't anything to actually form a group for, you know. You
That's
just
true.
run around to different cities, and the quests are also come in a random order anyway, so you just run around, run here and there. So I would love to have some group content, not in a way that it's better to do with a group, because it would be unfair for the people that do it solo, but something that you can do with a group, like the grind, boss grind during the Halloween event. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you were in a group, because if you only hit like a couple times, you would still get the loot, but it was still fun to do with a group. So that's one thing they could consider while designing the future events.
Well, and I mean, this is an MMO. Is it so out of question to make stuff that is group oriented, or at least can be done with a group? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's one of the failings with ESO in general, is that grouping for stuff often isn't as worthwhile as just doing it solo. Yes, there's a couple things that you need groups for, like trials and dungeons, that you can't do without a group, but it doesn't really take a huge organized effort except for, I don't know, you know, just a few, some of the harder stuff maybe it does. But the fact that so much of the open world stuff, it is actually more of a detriment to find a group to do things than just to go solo. You know what I mean? Like, it's... And Mr. Spo, you can't pelt Razumdar because Razumdar is amazing, so that's why. His sheer awesomeness repels all mudballs because Razumdar is the best thing in this game. But yeah, like, so much of the event, it's actually just more not cost effective, but more profitable for a person to go solo in this game. And even the group stuff like dungeons, you waste more time getting a group together than it is just to run out and find people who are just out there already. So it creates this disconnect for community. And, you know, I find that to be kind of a sad thing in an MMO. Like, you would think grouping would be more advantageous. Like, they would encourage grouping. That grouping is, you can do it solo if you really want or you don't have people. But if you group, you get a better benefit because that also encourages people who are more solo to go out and make friends, which is what MMOs really are all about anyway. So,
and I guess there is the fact that Elder Scrolls was first based on a single player game. That might have an effect in the design of Elder Scrolls Online, you know, to keep that Elder Scrolls feel in the game. But still, as you said, it would be nice to have more things to group for.
Right, and I do get that, because the Elder Scrolls franchise was single player, is single player. And that's... And a lot of people enjoy that solo experience, but ESO is still an MMO at its heart. It is a persistent world with other players, and I feel like punishing people for grouping sets a bad precedent for an MMO, and grouping should be encouraged. And one of the things that with One Tamriel, I will say they did encourage it, so they made a lot of world bosses not soloable, or at least not as face roll as they were before. So grouping is advantageous, but they still haven't found a way to make it so that organized groups are the better route than just running out to the world boss and hoping someone's there, and if no one's there, moving on to the next one. So, I don't know. That's what I feel. But that's the end of my gameplay, and end of yours as well. So, Ark, we've come to the end of the show.
Whew.
Yeah, I know.
It's been over an hour, so I guess that's good.
It's good for a holiday.
More than we expected with the number of news we had.
Right. But we did get to talk New Life, and New Life was definitely very cool. So I'm glad we got to do that. Just as a reminder before we sign off, again, as I said at the beginning of the show, we are going to be off for the next 2 weeks for holidays, and we will be back on January 7th for the next Tales of Tamriel. So keep that in mind. The in-game guild is still going to be doing events. I believe we might even be doing something for New Year's Eve. So keep that in mind as well. Ark, you got anything to say before we sign off?
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy birthday, Liz.
Happy birthday, Liz. Indeed.
Have a nice one, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Be sure to support Dungeon Crawler Network. Head over to our website, dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as this Twitch channel right here, youtube.com/Dungeon Crawler Network and twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network. Feel free to leave us iTunes reviews. We love seeing those, giving us feedback on the show, and helping us out there. That is great. Thank you so much for listening.
One thing I have to say is...
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Before you sign off, sorry for cutting you off, but I have to say this. Just before you sign off.
All right.
Don't go offline right away.
Okay.
Oh, wait, are you waiting? No, I'm
not going offline, like, on the stream? Or
okay, so... yeah, I meant that, yeah. Right. I want to say one last thing right before we sign off.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. Well, I'm gonna finish my thing, and I'm gonna let you say, like, you want to do it before or after music? Like, what are we doing here?
Before.
Okay. All right. Man, this is something I didn't even know was going on. Getting ready for my spiel to finish off the show, and here we go. So, follow us. Like, comment, subscribe, leave us your comments. Remember, we do call-in shows. I know we didn't have anyone to call in. We had a very active chat room, so thank you so much for that, guys. We hope you enjoy. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you, and we'll see you later. So there you go, Ark. It's all yours.
Yeah, as it is the tradition. See you all next year. Oh God.
Okay. All right. Awesome. See you, everyone, next year, and we hope to see you in Tamriel. So, bye-bye, guys. See you later.
The serpent lights the ancient sky, a thread of tainted stars. Evil stirs, and in its wake the souls of mortals sway. And sorrow reigns over fields of red, and spirits pace through the shadows cast by their graves. These are days and nights of venom and blood. Heroes will rise as the anchors fall. Brave the strive, reclaim every soul that belongs to the beauty of dawn. Darkness strikes to blind the strong, but faith will guide our swords. Loyal hearts will stand as one and fight with shields of hope. Pride feels the deadly fire.